Hey, Video Diary. So I was listening to this conversation about death and the dying experience. And one of the things that bothers me a lot about my son's death is that he kind of skipped over the the hard part, the good part, the bad part. He just kind of skipped over it. Maybe when he was lying there, high on heroin, maybe somewhere in his mind he realized he couldn't move and wasn't breathing. And he saw lots of colors. He had his headphones in. I could probably find out what he was listening to. Maybe I'll do that. But this person runs a hospice, and he was sort of talking about, regardless of what tradition you come from, that the dying process has a lot of coming to terms with life in a way that most people haven't until when they're just about to die. They finally drop all their, you know, I don't know what they drop, all their tension, all their bias, all their certainty. And most people start to feel very connected to not where they're going, but what they're leaving. And this person saw a lot of people die, but it was just a natural, and yet not just a mechanical process of switching off, but a much more profound journey into the self. And he said most people are concerned about how well they're loved and how much they loved, how much they still love, and all the things that they will miss. It's pretty crazy, you know. It's not about going to be with your God or going to see your family. It's about loving this world, this body, these relationships, these circumstances. At least at the time of death, because during that time, because there's not much you can do anymore. I kind of feel like Forrest skipped all of that. And that a lot of junkies do that. That the life that the drug that they're doing is not something that they do to turn inwards or upwards. It's something a lot more life denying. At least the way it plays out down here. It's very life denying. I suppose you could ask yourself that question about anything. Is what I'm doing celebrating life, or, somehow violating it? Violating my body or violating your body, poisoning yourself. I don't know how any heroin addict can justify heroin as a good thing to put in your body. It's not like a peach, or even like other drugs. I mean, that gets kind of slippery, but certain things aren't habit forming. Certain things are. And if you do things that are habit forming, what's the point of that except to form a habit? That's why I kind of lump tobacco and alcohol as very dangerous. They're habit forming. Nobody smokes a cigarette. What's the point of that? You smoke. And I think it's the very same way with heroin. Nobody just shoots up once. I mean, if I don't really know. I know my son didn't. He used it. And from what I can tell, like the way a heroin user behaves, like from the books that I've read and reading his notes to self, you do it a lot. You do it kind of like the way you smoke. You maintain a kind of high. And you probably always feel like you're never home unless you're, just about to get high. And then you die by ODing, and you skip all the reflection of what your life is. Not to mention that you really didn't even develop a full life that you can reflect upon in a lot of cases. Like Forrest didn't, he's just getting started. At so many really great things, possibilities. I have not been able to tell this jiu-jitsu club that I work out with, that I have a son that just got his purple belt when he died. I just don't want them to know. I see Forrest's face when I'm working out, and that's sort of our thing, playing guitar and working out was our thing, and food, and maybe movies. We like stuff like that. Shit. I can't believe my son is dead. I haven't made an entry in in a bit just because I just got sick of myself. The type of grief that a person goes through when a young person dies suddenly and stupidly is just different than an old person who has an amazing legacy to look back on, or even a shitty legacy that they have to contend with. I hope for most people that you sort out your pain so that by the time, not by the time you die, that you can have a good life. It's not about dying, it's about living. That was a key point. It's not about, you can't always plan your death, you don't know when it's going to come. You know it's going to come, but you don't think it is. You never really think. Everybody says that, that they don't ever think it's going to happen to them, and then it's happening. And they have to say goodbye, or they just, there's different strategies. Some people just disappear, fade out. Some people say goodbye to everybody. Some people just, like my father, refused to believe he was dying, probably up until the last day. Was defiant. Was arrogant. The other thing I didn't expect is I'm still really pissed at my dad for being such a jerk off. And I don't know how else to put it. I don't mean to be mean, but he really screwed it up. And he didn't have to. It was just in his mind. But maybe that's, is it too much to ask for a person not to be paranoid and ultra-conservative religious and, an abuser, a pedophile? I mean, that's not too much to ask. So I have these hard, unresolved feelings. I don't know if they're towards my father or just about. Just about him. But Forrest has reignited my indignation at people just doing crappy things. And when I think about what Forrest did, I could have done similar things. Even the way I have smoked weed in my life, or taken my hallucinogenics and stuff like that, it's very similar to what he was doing. So, as I've said in previous videos, I always knew that heroin was a no-no. A stupid, obvious, painted red no-no. A stop sign. But I guess my son did not have that same feeling. I can't talk to anybody about how much I miss him or what this is all really about. And the pain is so deep, it's like a cone. It's big here, and then it comes in and it goes all the way through me. And sometimes I have a lump in my throat, And people say that, but it's like, it's right here. And I realized that I haven't been able to sing, I'm a singer, since he died. And it's because the lyrics of songs are usually so beautiful and full of sadness, love, longing. And I can play, but I can't sing. I can't. Today I put on some music that had words and lyrics in it and, stuff I know, and I had to turn it off because it made me think of him. So I kind of feel like Forrest cheated. He cheated life. He cheated death. People say, oh, well, he didn't mean to. I know that, but he did mean to. He didn't, he was willing to risk this outcome. So, again, heroin must be really, really good. Really amazing to sway my son who was strong and he was smart, but he was also weak and ignorant or naive. He's only 23. So I expect a certain amount. But when I was 23, man, my son, I was so excited for my son's life because I kind of felt like with both my kids, they're both so much smarter and better prepared than I was. That was my aim. So to have it end like this with him, it feels like the way my father cheated me. He cheated me out of an apology. He cheated me out of facing himself for what he was. And I wouldn't have blamed him. I would have respected that. I would have been able to take that and live rather than spend years of my life unraveling the ropes of dogma and hatred and resentment and stupidity. It was just stupid. Like, what a waste. That's the same thing I feel about Forrest. It's like we had all this investment in such great stuff, and to throw it away, if I had known, I would have done whatever I could. And I'm just going to have to live my entire life, however long that lasts, injured and damaged. Because it's my son. It's not like a neighbor or a coworker. I don't think there's another being closer.